What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Anthony Bruno Show. I am Anthony Bruno. Even with their terrible track record of playoff Game 1 losses, the Raptors actually looked great in Game 1 against the Brooklyn Nets with a big 24-point win, 134-110, taking a 1-0 series lead on the Brooklyn Nets. So I am going to give my thoughts on Game 1, the rest of the series against Brooklyn, and then I'm going to talk about how far I think the Raptors can go in the playoffs this year. So let's go. If you're a fan of the Raptors, then you know this team's track record of not showing up when it comes to Game 1 of a playoff series, okay? We can go back to last year when DJ Augustin scored 25 points in Game 1 as the Orlando Magic beat the Toronto Raptors. But obviously the Raps went on to win their first ever NBA championship, so everyone forgot about that. No one cares. It doesn't matter. Game 1 this year was a completely different story. The Raptors came out and stepped on the throats of the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, it was just a beatdown in the first half. Brooklyn showed a little life in the third quarter, outscoring the Raptors pretty significantly, but then the Raptors bounced back in the fourth and ended up with that big 24-point victory. First of all, what an amazing game from Fred VanVleet. A playoff career high, 30 points, 11 assists. He went 8 for 10 from three-point range. The dude was unreal. Besides the amazing performance from VanVleet, there were some other positives from the Raptors in Game 1. 7 players scored in double figures, and that is one of the things I love most about this team, is that on any given night, there's 6 to 7 guys on this Raptors team that can get you between 15 and 25 points. They do it by committee, and every night there's a different guy that steps up, and in Game 1, it just happened to be Fred VanVleet. On top of that, Serge Ibaka looked great with 22 points off the bench. He has looked very sharp since the NBA restart. And then when you look on the Brooklyn Nets side of the ball, we all know that their best player right now is Caris LeVert. There's no Kevin Durant, there's no Kyrie Irving, there's no Spencer Dinwiddie. It's Caris LeVert, and you have to shut him down. And the Raptors did a pretty solid job on LeVert in Game 1. They held him to just 15 points. He was only 5 of 14 from the field. He did have 15 assists, but for the most part, the Raptors did not let LeVert take over this game. I don't really want to call this a concern, but if I'm going to nitpick one thing from Game 1, it was the play of Pascal Siakam. He did finish with a good stat line with 18 points and 11 rebounds, but he was not efficient whatsoever and just didn't look like he could get into a rhythm offensively. And listen, we've seen Pascal have some massive games in the playoffs, especially last year. You know, Game 1 of the NBA Finals against Golden State goes off for 32 points. So this year, obviously, with Kawhi not on this basketball team, everyone is expecting Siakam to be that go-to guy, to be the closer in the fourth quarter. And I know that the Raptors have Fred VanVleet and they have Kyle Lowry, but Pascal Siakam has to be that guy. And he just did not look comfortable offensively in Game 1. I'm sure Pascal is going to be fine, but that's one thing to keep an eye on if you're a Raptors fan, because I think at some point the Raptors are going to get exposed by not having a guy like Kawhi Leonard in the lineup late in the fourth quarter. And listen, that's not saying that I don't think the Raptors can make a deep playoff run here, but I think they're going to get tested at some point, because remember what happened last year against the Philadelphia 76ers in Game 7? Everyone was afraid to shoot. No one could make a basket outside of Kawhi Leonard and Serge Ibaka in that game. He saved the Raptors on countless occasions in the playoffs last year, and I just fear that the Raptors might get into a series against a really good team, whether it's the Boston Celtics or Milwaukee Bucks, and they're not going to have that go-to closer in the fourth quarter. So Siakam, I got to see you step up. I think you can, but we got to see it. So for my final thoughts on this Raptors versus Nets series in the first round, if I'm the Toronto Raptors, just stay healthy. Don't do anything stupid, okay? Stay healthy, keep your foot on the gas, bury these guys in 4 games, and move on to the next round, and that is when things are going to start to get a little bit difficult for this Raptors team. I think the Raptors are going to sweep Brooklyn in 4 games. They really shouldn't have any problems against this team, especially with all those stars out of the lineup, and that is going to set up a round 2 match barring anything crazy happening against the Boston Celtics, who played the Raptors very tough this season. They went 3-1 against the Raptors. One of those wins did come in the bubble, but that's a team that has proved to be a very tough matchup for the Toronto Raptors. And one thing that I fear about that series is that you have a guy like Jason Tatum on the Boston Celtics, who's probably, okay, and you could argue this, but he's probably going to be the best player on the court in that series. And that's where the Raptors could run into a little bit of problems, is containing a guy like that. They also have Jaylen Brown and Kemba Walker and Gordon Hayward, but that's when I think the real test is going to begin for the Raptors. Now, saying all that, I still think the Raptors are a better team than the Boston Celtics. Just look at the regular season. They proved it. They finished with their best winning percentage in franchise history without Kawhi Leonard, with all of those man games lost to injury. This team is obviously a force to be reckoned with, so I think they're going to get through Boston, and I think we're going to get that Eastern Conference Finals matchup that everyone's been waiting for. It's going to be Giannis and the Bucks against the Toronto Raptors. And at that point, we're really going to see what the Raptors are made of, because obviously there's no Kawhi Leonard this season, who did a great job defensively on Giannis last year in the playoffs. And the Raptors did a great job as a team defense on Giannis last year, but let's see if they can do it again. And another thing with the Milwaukee Bucks, they're a team that had a historically dominant regular season when it comes to a point differential perspective. They were a phenomenal defense, and they went 2-0 against the Raptors in the regular season. The Raptors did beat them in the bubble, but Giannis wasn't playing. So we're going to see if the Raptors can take them down, because again, just like I said about Jason Tatum, in the Bucks series, Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to be the best player on the court in the entire series. So when things clamp down defensively, who's going to step up for the Raptors? Because it's great that they score by committee and different guys step up every night. But like I said, when things really tighten up defensively and you need a bucket late in the fourth quarter in a 1-2 possession game, you want to see a guy like Pascal Siakam step up in that situation. So we're going to see what Siakam's made of. We're going to see what Van Vliet is made of, what Kyle Lowry is made of. And it should be a very exciting playoffs. And again, those guys all played great last year in the playoffs, but they all did that in secondary roles behind Kawhi Leonard. Now, saying all that, I still truly believe that the Raptors can get past the Milwaukee Bucks and get back to the NBA Finals. But I did pick the Los Angeles Clippers to win the NBA championship this season, and I am sticking with that pick. I think Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are going to get it done. And you know what? There's a very good chance that they could play the Raptors in the finals. But again, who's going to be the best player on the court in that series? Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, right? So the Raptors, I still think, have a lot to prove despite winning the championship last season. And starting in round 2 against Boston, we're going to see what they're made of. And then obviously in the conference finals, and then if they can get all the way to the NBA Finals. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think about this Raptors versus Nets series. Does Brooklyn have any chance whatsoever to take a game from the Raptors? Or are the Raptors going to finish this off in 4 games? And let me know how far you think the Raptors can go in the playoffs. Can they get back to the NBA Finals? And can they win a second straight NBA championship? I want to know your thoughts. And as always, I would really appreciate it if you like the video, share it on social media, and subscribe to my channel, especially if you're a sports fan and want to see more content like this. It would really, really help me out. So that does it for this video, and I will see you guys next time.